Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Today I have another double standard. This is a new article that's coming out from the Daily Beast, craptastic paper that hates men and loves women and everything else. And this is literally from yesterday. Thank you to the Locals member that posts this on the main feed, because then I get to find it and then I say, oh, that's fun. I'll talk to the other hundreds, maybe 1,000 of people that are not over at Locals. Don't forget to join us over at Locals. There's now, we're just shy of 300 people, 50,000 members, which is free. You can see my content over there. And of course, unique supporter stuff. Anyway, so I got here, women going their own way is stunning and brave. So of course, women that decide, hey, you know what? We don't like men. We want to do our own thing. We want to not socialize. Well, this is a warm and heart-touching, brave thing for women to do. But when men do it, they're toxic, they're bad, they're angry, they're bitter, they're incels, they're blah, 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 blah. Same thing. And the truth of it is, again, when the women do it, some of them even said, I'm tired of relationships and men. But when the men do it, well, I have a great quote from Bernie Sanders.
The American people are tired of women.
Yeah, when we get tired of it, well, we're bad people. We're bad men. So this is from the Daily Beast. Meet the Hermettes, a secret society of women who prefer to be left alone. And then if you look at her, she absolutely looks crazy. She's got the Albert Einstein hair and the one-piece, almost looks like a mechanic suit, although I doubt this woman's wrenched on anything but her heart in her lifetime. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want you to hear the way they paint these women as if they're somehow strong, brave, and beautiful. But again, when guys do it, it's poisonous and bad. A reclusive lifestyle has led these new feminine ideal. A reclusive lifestyle has led to a new feminine ideal for those New York City dwellers. So here again, when women are doing it, it's an ideal. It's beautiful. And of course, they write it in all flowering language. But she says, a creative director at a major advertising agency for over 2 decades, Mickenberg grew tired of the crazy hours in corporate America and decided to become a hermit, which is just hermit but female. Society holds up misunderstandings towards hermits, Rodriguez argues. People see them as self-centered, antisocial, hostile, cynical, fearful of people, and uncooperative. That's how we see hermits. But when the women do it, it's a feminine hermit. I'm a hermit. A lifestyle I believe should become the new feminine ideal. And they go on through here, and I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but I want to give you, all they do is use flowery language to describe these women and how strong they are and how beautiful. She says, I think most women are hermits originally, but we've been socialized to believe we have to be devoted to another person. She reasons before joking, I remember thinking to myself, just to be a normal person and get married, but later I realized that maybe I wanted to get married just so I can get divorced. Oh, well, there's a shock.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
She wanted to get married just so she can get divorced. She says, let me see if I can find the segment I was looking at earlier. But she's traveled. She's done her own thing. And I have no hate on her. But she's doing the same thing that a lot of men have decided to do. And she even said in here that she did it because she really struggled with dating and just didn't find it worked out for her, which, again, is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they write this big flowery piece and how beautiful it is. I want to show you the other lady here quickly before I jump into the next part of this. The other one, again, she has crazy frayed out hair, and she looks like she lives in a hovel. I mean, just being honest here. She didn't get along with other people. And, she didn't do well in dating. Look at this mess. What a mess. Crazy cat lady. And she's a musician and all the other good things, right? So anyway, the Daily Beast writes this beautiful write-up about women being stunning and brave for doing their own thing. But from the Daily Beast, why men are angry. Manning Up author Kay Heimowitz explains. So she, a woman, is going to explain to everybody else why men are mad. Now, in the previous piece they wrote, now this is from 2017, so it's older, but from the previous piece they wrote, they interviewed the women. They got the women's firsthand account of why they were stunning and brave for wanting to be left alone and do their own thing. But when they decide to write about men, they don't interview men. They decide to grab excerpts from online, which we know. I mean, you could probably fish through my comments or lots of comments and find some that tend to be from angry guys or guys that are kind of new to this, I don't know, this kind of information, and they're fresh out of a breakup and they're bitter and they're ticked off. And so, of course, you're going to get people saying some angry stuff. Well, I can send you to Female Dating Strategy and a lot of different web pages where women talk horribly about men. But see, they don't do that. They're just going to frame men as doing it as bad. Same thing here on the Daily Dot. Reddit bans guys going their own way. And you notice we always call it guys going their own way. Why? Because if we substitute men in for guys and we say those 5 words together, a lot of times our videos get flagged or demonetized. Why? Because they've pegged the guys going their own way community is harmful and incels and bitter and angry and everything else. And the truth is, I don't think they've ever really sat down and interviewed anyone in the community. They grab clips and snippets from online stuff and paint that as all the men in the community. Same thing, The Guardian here, they say men going their own way. See, I almost did it. I almost said that last word. Guys going their own way, the rise of a toxic male separatist movement. But if you read this article, if you were to change the words from being bitter and angry to empowering and strong, they're kind of the same argument. And they're the same arguments behind it. That guys wanting to bow out of the dating market, that guys say, you know what, I want to spend, the one woman that they were talking about, she spends her time painting, and she's a musician, and she likes to play her music alone. But a guy that wants to play PlayStation 5 with his friends online, maybe go shoot pool down at the local pub and watch videos or maybe participate in communities where they lament about women are somehow bad. They're doing the same thing. They just put a target on them for different reasons. So, overall, I mean, I don't want to say this is nothing, but it's the same thing that we've heard 100 times. When women decide to be alone or to stand up against X or do Y, they're stunning, they're brave, they're wonderful, they're all the wonderful flowery things. But when guys say, you know what, that's the exact same reasoning why I decide I don't want to date, or I don't want to get married, or I don't want to be at the whim of the government taking my money if the woman I'm married to decides to leave me and take half of my money. Then they're called Peter Pan syndrome. They're children that never want to grow up, which is one of the articles. What about the ladies that didn't want to grow up and they just want to be alone? It's all the same thing. And I get so tired of this over and over and over again, where they just peg men into a corner. And when Mike Pence, and that's what this one article's covering here, when Mike Pence said, you know something, I don't dine alone, I don't do anything alone except with anyone but my wife. And number one, that's to be respectful to my wife. I think it's a good thing to say, hey, I'm not going to be alone with a woman unless it's my wife. Number two, he says, hey, guys can be tempted by a lot of stuff. I don't know if he directly said this, but he has said, men can be tempted by things, and I want to avoid temptation, and I just want to avoid the situation. Now, you can say, well, a man shouldn't be tempted, but men are men. And if we're going to be honest about ourselves and say, hey, you know what? Men can be tempted. Well, I'm just going to keep myself out of the situation. Same thing if a guy has a drinking problem and he says, you know what, I'm going to avoid bars. I don't want to be tempted by that stuff. Does that mean that alcohol is evil? No, it just means that guy says, hey, you know what? I don't want to be around the situation. And lastly, the third of it, and this is probably my strongest reason for advocating to make sure to find out about women's red flags and their issues, is to say, hey, you know what? There's a lot of accusations that can go flying around. People can say you did something inappropriate, and I'm just going to avoid that. I'm just going to avoid any situation where something like that can happen. I'm just going to play it smart. And in these articles, I mean, again, they say the men of the guys going their own way movement aim to live their lives with no female contact. The idea began on the fringes of the internet. So how has it made it all the way to the White House? This is by Laura Bates, another trash writer. But how did it make it to the White House? Vice President Pence. But again, do you see the brush that they paint, that men that decide not to date are somehow bad or evil or dark? and the women are oh, they're just getting away from society, and they're getting away from the bad men that hurt them. But when guys say the same thing about the bad women, it's not even. Guys, make sure to join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. I got another video I'm going to be doing. Let me see if I can find the thumbnail to it. Let me see if I can find the thumbnail. Oh, here it is. Where bachelorette parties are toxic. And, of course, they use movie tropes and things like that. And it's a group of women that's actually on Eve talking about, which are kind of a pack of younger women that are married and are a little bit more traditional. They're saying, oh, well, we need to get away from that. I get into it, and I can't put it up here on YouTube. I've tried to upload it a couple times. So if you want to see stuff like that, become a supporter today over at betterbachelor.locals.com.